President Marcia. Got it. Thought for the day, Past President Steve Scher.
Thank you, Diane. In Rotary, one of our principal tenets is peace through understanding. And we need lots of peace in the world. And when we think globally, all of our thoughts, or at least many of our thoughts, go to the difficulties in Ukraine and thinking about the lack of peace and the lack of understanding in that venue. And we can see this same situation arise within our country. And we have red states and blue states and people that don't like people who are red or blue, and there's conflict, and again, there's a dearth of peace and understanding. And we can find this in our state as well. And we have haves and have-nots and tax systems that support the needs of varying people, and there are disagreements. There is not peace and there is not understanding. And then we can see within ourselves, there are tensions in our personal lives that cause dysfunction for ourselves and for our families. And so today, I would like for you to join me in praying for peace and understanding for the world, for our country, for our state, and for peace in our hearts. Amen.
Steve, that was very significant, and I agree with you, except the understanding part, when you take a war like the Ukraine, that's not understanding. There was an individual who instigated the war, and how could you, I just unfathomable when you come to a situation like that, when you can't possibly have peace, when there's no understanding.
Very thought-provoking, Past President Tom. Thank you. And thank you, Past President Steve. Are there any visiting Rotarians? I do believe we have a couple of guests other than the speaker today. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Would you like to introduce them, Peter?
Yes, Past President Diane. We're pleased to have our former member, Rose Shaw, with us. And also with Rose Shaw is her daughter, Felita Shen. Felita is the director of the United Nations Los Angeles chapter. She is also liaison for Miss America and Miss Southern California send-off. She is the daughter of our past member, Rose Shaw. And I don't know if Linda Shaw is here. She's supposed to join us. I don't see her. Linda, if she joins us late, is the devoted daughter of Henry and Annie Sang, our longtime member. And then we have, of course, our guest speaker, Catherine Liang, and more on Catherine later.
All right.
Please give them a warm Westwood Village welcome.
Thank you very much, Peter. We appreciate that. And welcome to our guests. We appreciate having you here. Announcements. Benjamin, do you have one or two you'd like to start with?
Yes, I don't see Steve Day here, so I'm going to jump in and remind everybody on November 20th, we have an incredible event. And I don't know how many people have signed up for this, but I would love to see each of us sitting there because I think we're going to have some great music, lots of fun. And of course, it goes for the Rotary International Foundation, and what a cause that is. So if you haven't bought your tickets, I'm sure Steve will be in touch with you, but this is not pressure. This is just, I think it'd be a great event. That's the November 20th. It's a Saturday. Is it a Saturday, I believe? I'm not sure. Let me see. Hold on.
Mhm. Yes.
It's a Saturday and it's in the afternoon from 1 to, I believe, 5 o'clock. So you can still do things as well. So that's just one of the things. Another event that keep in mind, we're having December 15th at Guido's, correct? Right, Diane? And for our holiday
I'm not
party?
sure we confirmed Guido's, but for now, I would say yes, that's correct.
Okay, so on December 15th, we will have our holiday party. And I can't wait for Tom. He always pulls rabbits out of the hat.
It's scheduled for 15th.
It is scheduled for the 15th. Okay. And we are also going to plan in January an event at the Academy Award Museum for a Saturday lunch, and we'll pick dates. It either will be January 7th or January 28th, and we'll send out information in advance. And then some thoughts that people gave us earlier about going to the Nixon Library. That'll be another thing we're going to do. So get ready. We're going to really do some social events. I know Chris would love that. So let's just think about some events that we would all want to be involved in. And let's just all together participate and get to know one another in a different way. Okay?
And I have to jump in and say that November 20th, the Soul of Rotary concert is on Sunday.
It's a Sunday. Okay, it's a Sunday.
Sunday afternoon. Okay.
Sunday afternoon. Thank you, Gordon. So Sunday afternoon, the Soul of Rotary, let's all attend. And now there's obviously different levels of tickets, but Steve and group decided they wanted to be at the top. And so Susan and I will be there. I know Rose and Chris will be there. Others will be there. So it's going to be a fun event. I already know the groups, and the groups we're going to all have a good time and jam. So that's the announcements for today, everybody.
Well, those are your announcements for today, Benjamin, and thank you very much.
Oh, there's some more announcements.
There are, believe it or not.
Okay.
And as an FYI, we have not sold anywhere near the number of raffle books that we sold last year. So if you have not purchased your book yet, we would really appreciate it if you'd get online and get it purchased. And if you need help, let me know or let Steve Day know, and we can help you purchase it online. All right, November 5th, Operation Gratitude. The Rotaracts have sponsored an event. They're asking if any of us want to participate with them. It is from 8 a.m. to noon. Certainly they can use rides if in fact you want to participate and plan to drive. I believe it's in Chatsworth, and you assemble veteran care packages, excuse me, for servicemen and women to show our support and appreciation. So if you're interested in participating, please let me know, and I can let the Rotaracts get in contact with you. The other event that I want to discuss with you is December 1st, the shopping spree with the children. It is going to be back in person this year. So I need to start getting people to volunteer to participate. Okay, thank you, Gordon. So please let me know if you plan to participate and shop with the kids. Allie, great. If you cannot participate or you elect not to, Mark got you, Benjamin got you. Who else? Beautiful. So far, so good. Jim Crane.
I'm in.
Bill's in. Jim Crane's in. Great. All right. Good start. I still need about 15 more, but that's a good start. Tom, are you in?
I think so. I'll have to check my calendar.
Okay.
This is Dave. I'm in.
Okay, beautiful.
Marcia, put down Lynn also.
I'm Diane. But
I mean,
okay,
Diane.
I
Diane.
got you. Marking
Then
in.
again, Diane, What is the nature of the event again?
This is the shopping spree with the children. If you
What's the
cannot-
date, Diane? The date, Diane?
December 1st, the very first Thursday of the month. And it will start at 5:30 p.m. We'll meet over here.
Sue and I'll be there.
Beautiful.
Diane, 2 from the Moors.
All right. Beautiful.
And Chris talked to me about it. I think he's going to as well. So we have some good, we have more than we thought, didn't we, Diane?
It's a good start.
Okay.
And let me also suggest that if you're not able to attend, we will need a bus. And if you'd like to contribute towards the renting of that bus,
I would like to contribute $400 toward the bus. I can do a check or something to WVRC, or who do I do
well,
that?
let me get back to you on that.
Okay, alrighty.
Marcia,
Thank
Marcia,
you.
Marcia, why didn't you get with Terry?
Mhm.
He's the one that's coordinated it in the past few years.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to him about the best way to do it, Terry?
Okay, all right, I'll talk to Terry. Thank you, Philip.
All right, beautiful. Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Very, very generous, Marcia. Very generous.
Absolutely. All right, before we get to our speaker, next week, we have San Diego Rotarian who happens to be just about everything. She's a country music singer. She's open for Clint Black, Trace Adkins, Charles Daniels. She has written a book. She's been a radio and television personality. Her name is Amy Scruggs, and I think you're going to find her quite entertaining. She will talk to us about her book, Light, Camera, Action, which is about media coaching, which includes using Zoom, which we're still on, so I think it will come in handy. But anyway, that will be in person at Guido's. And again, I think you'll be greatly entertained by this woman.
Is she going to sing?
She is going to sing.
All right.
She'll
Good.
sing as well for us. Yes, absolutely. All right, Past President Peter, would you like to introduce our speaker for today?
Thank you, Past President Diane. Our guest speaker today is a wealth analyst from Goldman Sachs, San Francisco. She oversees the portfolio of 120 clients with 23 billion under management. She majored in international relations, global business, and a minor in piano performance. She is a USC graduate with honors in 2021. Catherine Liang was crowned Miss Los Angeles Chinatown in 2019. She is the former Miss San Francisco. Catherine is the current Miss California for 2022, and she's moving on to the Miss America pageant this December. Please give a warm Westwood Village welcome to Miss California, Catherine Liang.
Well, thank you, Peter. And I love that you introduced it as a warm Westwood welcome. I can definitely feel that even through a Zoom call. And I love that you guys opened up with the four-way test. A fun fact, Rotary and Miss America are the only two organizations that share the same tenure of 101 years of history. So it's really amazing to see that two organizations with quite similar missions of service to community and service above self share that kind of history. And that is kind of one of my goals throughout this year as Miss California, is to be a better resource and be more present with all of our Rotarians across the state. But to give a little introduction, my name is Catherine, and I actually grew up having no idea what the scholarship world was like. I grew up in Sonoma County, and I was as much of a tomboy as you can imagine. Spent most of my time playing outside in the mud and running like a wild child, much to my mother's dismay. But I really actually struggled with public speaking and confidence. And I'm sure many of our students today probably go through a similar struggle because they've experienced 2 years of online learning and feeling only human interaction through a TV screen or a computer screen. So I'm actually very grateful to my family who encouraged me to enter into my first ever orientation at 14. I sat all the way in the back because I was so shy and quite frankly afraid of being judged by anyone classically considered a part of the pageant world. I definitely did not see myself as a part of that. But throughout all of the orientation and the rehearsals, I really came to see that this concept of sisterhood that they kept reiterating was quite true. Flash forward 9 years, I actually got to share the Miss California stage with one of the first girls that I ever met through the Miss Sonoma County's program. So it's a very full circle moment. I'm very grateful for that. But flash forward, I was able to represent Sonoma County in 2014 at the Miss California's Outstanding Teen Program. Loved my experience. In all transparency, still had no idea really what I was doing. But that gave me an opportunity going through that process of interviewing and walking across the stage, performing a talent that I had, just seen as a part of my life for the past 13 years. Being able to demonstrate that for a statewide audience, that was probably one of the most exhilarating feelings I had as a 14-year-old. So I really took it upon myself and had long conversations with my family about, do I want to continue my journey within the scholarship organization circuit, or do I want to maybe focus on the areas where I felt like maybe I kind of fell short in the competition? And for me, that really was about building this idea of being a global citizen. And I know Rotary is first and foremost an international organization. So I love that you guys have your chapter here in Westwood, but it seems like you have touch points all across the world. And it really is about kind of supporting one another's initiatives and helping to cultivate that kind of trust and grow organically. So flash forward, I represented California in my junior year of high school, because mostly I wanted to earn a couple of scholarship dollars at the time, because university comes with a hefty price tag, I will say, but was very grateful to attend USC with a presidential merit scholarship, and then also be able to pay off my entire first year at USC with the scholarship dollars I earned in an organization called Distinguished Young Women. So that was my first experience really of representing an entire state and kind of getting that sense of what it means to be an ambassador on a national stage. And then flash forward to, as Peter said, in 2017, my first year of college, I decided to end up pursuing another program called Miss Los Angeles Chinatown. I grew up in Sonoma County, and it is a very Caucasian neighborhood. And when I went to USC, the first statistic I heard was 32% of the population is international people of Asian descent. And for me, that was such, quite frankly, a culture shock. But I really took upon that opportunity to embrace my Asian heritage and was able to fortunately travel all across China and then eventually represent Los Angeles in Hong Kong. So that was an incredible experience. But I always kind of knew at some point I got to hang up the pageant heels, but I wanted to give one more shot to an organization that really kind of gave me the kickstart to building my confidence over the years, which was Miss California. And I will say my journey from 2017 to 2022 was not the smoothest. College was obviously a wonderful and incredible time, but it was also filled with quite a few challenges, especially in the first year. So I moved into USC in August of 2017. October 8th, I got a call from a reporter who is a friend working at a local paper telling me to evacuate my home, not realizing I had already moved to college. And I had no idea what he was talking about, but he said, "Your entire hometown is on fire right now." So if you can recollect, in Northern California, we unfortunately went through the travesty of the Tubbs fire. So I had no way of contacting my parents because at the time, Sonoma County did not have that infrastructure of emergency phone lines and protocols and signals, signaling to fire stations. That was just not a part of our infrastructure. So I, needless to say, did not sleep for quite a few hours, just hoping and praying that my parents had made it out. And very gratefully, they did. But 1 month later, I think to cope with this idea of, quite frankly, being homeless for the first time in my life, I really delved into school and buried myself under as many classes as I could possibly take, involving myself into many wonderful organizations on USC's campus, but not giving myself the time and space to recognize that, I had gone through essentially a traumatic experience. And so I was diagnosed 1 month after with a condition called Hashimoto's disease. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's essentially a condition where your body attacks its own natural production of thyroid. So that affects your metabolism, your mood swing, your ability to think clearly, your energy levels. And at one point, I had a heart rate that reached 32 resting heart rate. And so my doctor told me, if you don't address it now, we are going to have to stick a heart pacer in you at 17. So for me, I was like, holy moly, how did I go from someone who could swim and dance and feel so alive on stage to not being able to even open a water bottle cap or sit at a dinner table and have a conversation with someone? So that really, really, I wouldn't even say just rocked my confidence, but I think completely obliterated my sense of personal confidence and this go-getter mentality. But I say this not to share as a woe is me story, but really as an opportunity for me to actually reevaluate what was truly important in my life. And up until that point, it was about chasing recognition, chasing external validation from awards or, my coaches saying, you did a good job, you beat your best time, you did more turns, congratulations. For me, it was the first time going into the pandemic, I really had to see, what is important to me and how can I rebuild my confidence after completely losing it. So very grateful to recognize that one of the most important things in my life was my support system in my family. And they were through the many doctor's appointments, the many blood tests, the many difficult times at home of not being able to get out of bed, but they encouraged me to share my journey online. And, we always talk about social media, kids these days, they are quite avid TikTokers. But I would say social media has actually been quite the empowering platform for me because for the first time, I think I was so secluded from all of this external noise and the hustle and bustle of the world that I really felt like that was my only way to connect with other people is through social media. So I just decided to share my journey of, what do I eat in a day? How am I trying to exercise to regain my strength and my health? And rather than receiving the judgment that I had anticipated, I actually got quite positive feedback from friends and family who had maybe hidden their own personal health issues. And quite a few people actually, many of my female friends came forward and said, I actually have Hashimoto's. I recently was also diagnosed. I had no idea that you could actually cure it. I just thought I would be on medication for the rest of my life. And I said, this is all experimental. I don't have a medical background, but, at the end of the day, we're doing every single person is trying their best to show up each and every day as their best self. So that was kind of the message that really helped to spark my personal brand, which is based on 4 core pillars of fitness, fashion, food, and finance. Because I did not want to be defined as a girl who was a fire survivor, and I did not want to be defined as a girl with an autoimmune disorder. I wanted to be someone who said, yes, those are all elements of my life, but I've overcome that, and I've come to realize that that's given me more strength and more perspective through going through difficult things. And I recognize that as a young woman in today's modern world, you don't have to be just a pageant girl. You don't just have to be successful in your career, but you can be multifaceted, well-rounded, and you can be a global citizen. So long story short, that inspired my social impact initiative today, now as Miss San Francisco, former Miss San Francisco, and now Miss California, is this idea of being a champion of courage. I go to a lot of schools, and for many young kids, they want to talk about the Avengers. And when I ask them, do you yourself possess a superpower? A lot of them will say, well, I can't fly, or I can't shoot laser beams out my eyes. But through our exercises, I kind of remind them that, you know, before anything else, when you are a good friend on the playground, when you are a good student, and when you're a good daughter or son, you are a champion of courage. And that in itself is your superpower. Obviously, for a more mature audience who can understand the concept beyond superpowers, I think it's recognizing that every single person has the ability to make a positive impact on every single person's life. And that is why I so admire the Rotary organization, because, you know, it's an international group that's not built on hierarchy or, you know, having certain projects that every single Rotarian has to focus on. I think when I think of the Rotary, it's about trust. And I love the fact that each of you kind of places faith in one another to do the right thing. And it goes back to that 4-point test of, you know, does it speak truth? Is it fair to all that are concerned? Will it build good and positivity and friendship in other people's life? And is it beneficial truly to every single person that it touches? So that's my goal throughout this year, is to take those tenets and apply it to the Miss America organization, now as Miss California, and then in December, going to represent our wonderful Golden State at the Miss America competition in chilly old Uncasville, Connecticut. But this is something I'm very grateful for, is just simply the platform to share my story, because I think it goes back to this idea of authenticity. And I like to say, to be a champion of courage, you need 3 things. You have to be authentic, you have to be audacious or have courage, and you need to be an advocate. It's transforming your own personal story and transforming it into a platform to hopefully inspire other people. But all this to say, I'm just very grateful today to be able to share this room with you and to take you along my own personal journey of courage. So thank you for your time.
Questions, anyone? Tom, Aaron?
How, Catherine, how did you get into the world of finance? I didn't see the transition there.
Yeah, so I have a wonderful older brother. I have self-nominated myself as the president of Richard Liang fan club, but he has always had a monumental influence on my life. He's been my best friend, my big brother, and he went into investment banking. And as a little sister, I wanted to do everything that he did, but I recognized that my skill sets were a little bit more on the interpersonal side. So I ended up going into private wealth management, the first ever program that I ever did. And if you have any daughters or granddaughters who are interested in exploring the world of asset management, I highly recommend this program. It's called Girls Who Invest. And much like Girls Who Code, it exposes young women to this idea that yes, women actually have the capability and the power and the insight to be money managers. And their mission is to have 30% of the world's assets managed by women by 2030. So I was very proud to be a part of that legacy program. So my first internship was actually in Taipei, Taiwan. Then I transitioned into passive equities and trading at Charles Schwab, and then was over the moon excited when I got my internship at Goldman and then return offer.
Mark, Rogo, you have a question?
Diane, did you say me?
Yes,
Oh,
I did.
okay. Catherine, there was a lot of controversy at the Miss Universe contest, and they got rid of the bathing suit session, and they're trying to be a little bit more reflective of changing attitudes about women and sexism. And they mentioned that for the last few years, because of this, there have been declining applications around the world or the westernized countries, I think they said, to enter beauty pageants. It's being more and more frowned on as a past generation form of sexism. I'm curious what your comments are, your
Absolutely.
observations.
No, thank you for that question. And to clarify, so there are actually two different main programs. I would say there's the Miss America program, which I am a part of, and that is known as the world's largest and oldest scholarship providing organization. So any dollars that you earn through this have to go through to higher education purposes. And then there's a partner program, completely separate though. It's called the Miss Universe program. And that is much more oriented towards, cultivating pop culture stars and models and TV personalities. And I think you ask a very relevant question because, Miss America was founded on the idea of being a beauty pageant, but it is also shared 101 years of history and it's seen a lot of change. And for me, my mission and the only reason why I kind of entered back into the scholarship organization world is to show precisely that girls who wear a crown and a sash are very much capable of also holding corporate jobs. I work in finance. It is definitely not the most diverse sector. I work with 13 guys and I sometimes call it Gamma Sigma. It is a little bit quite fun. But I think it gives me the opportunity to show that, you can be graceful and you can be gracious in a boardroom and you can still get your point across. And I like to see Miss America now as a training program for future ambassadors, because how incredible is it to see, lawyers and data scientists and nuclear physicists go through this program and still be able to, carry themselves with grace. I think being Miss America, you asked some great questions.
Diane, I have another question. Actually, isn't running for Miss America, isn't that time consuming and won't that interfere with your corporate job?
Yeah, so for full transparency, right now I'm treating Miss California as my full-time job because I am flip-flopping across the state. Felita can testify to that. We've been driving all up and down Southern California. But I think that's something that quite surprised a lot of people when I was Miss San Francisco, is this perception that, yes, I held a full-time job at the same time I was Miss San Francisco. And to give a little context, my job started before market hours, so I would get to the office around 5, and at quarter ends, there were times I would not leave the office until 8 or 9 p.m. Because you're client facing and you have to respond day in, day out. But even still, I was able to attend over 52 events before I went to Miss California, and I think that is a testament. I don't say it for myself, but many girls do this. I think it's a testament to the fact that most of us really do, out of the goodness of our heart, want to show up and be present for our community, but still want to succeed in our career.
So Captain, you talked about your talent. Is there still a talent portion to the competition? And if so, what is your talent?
Yeah, I failed to mention that, but yes, there is a talent component and it actually accounts for 50% of your score at preliminaries for Miss America. So they quite emphasize on that. And my talent is piano. I'm playing Fantasy Impromptu by Frédéric Chopin. And it's a very nostalgic piece because actually the back half of the piece was completely redone by my piano teacher and best friend of over 14 years. She has, I remember, I think she took a piece of scratch paper, wrote the music lines, and then hand wrote every single note. So we quite literally took a 15-page piece and cut and paste it into a 90-second rendition.
Wow. Well, too bad you can't play it for us today. That would be nice to hear.
Well, that just means you'll have to tune in December 15th to watch the show. So
fair enough. Are there any further questions? No, okay. Well, thank you so much for speaking today and making the switch, because I know you were scheduled for a different day. I'm sorry. Felicia, do you have a question?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Felita, and I just put in my chat as I'm the Miss California SoCal Momager for Catherine. Catherine, I think that you requested to have a group photo with everybody.
If that is something everyone's comfortable with, I would love to take a group photo. If that's
Sure.
possible. Awesome.
I could do a screenshot. So if everybody is able to come on screen, that'd be amazing. Let's think. We have me. Okay. All right. So I don't know if there's a certain smile or signal or anything, but we could all, everybody just smile. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so much. And I could just close with one thing. You know, I've shared my journey as Miss California, but the first and foremost thing is how can I be of service to you guys? So if there are any causes in your personal business or through the Rotary organization that I can ever just help to amplify, please don't hesitate to reach out, because you know that's what my title is here for. It's to amplify the work that Californians are doing. So.
All right. Well,
Where are you
again,
at right now? At home?
Right now?
Where's your location right now?
I am in the beautiful wine county, so Sonoma County.
okay, we finished. Everybody done? Thank you for your inspiring story. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck come December 15th, not just December 15th, but from here on. So thank you very much for presenting today. All right, does anyone have anything else they want to discuss, talk about, ask, bring up? No? All right. Well, don't forget, next week we're in person at Guido's. Hope to see you all there. Thanks for attending today. See you next week.
Catherine, thank you very much for coming, and Ro and Felita, thanks for joining the meeting today.
Thank you for setting it up, Peter. Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
Bye, everybody.